Have you ever noticed how people smile at you, but not in a kind way? The kind of smile that says, you're trying, but you're nothing special. The kind that hides judgment behind laughter. This story is about a man who heard that laugh for years. His name was Daniel. Every morning, while the city was still half asleep, Daniel stood behind a small coffee cart near a busy office street. Not a cafe, not a shop, just a simple cart, a kettle, and the smell of fresh coffee in the cold air. He served office workers, taxi drivers, students, anyone who passed by. Some people were polite. They said, thank you. They smiled. But others, they laughed. Is this all you're going to do with your life? You studied for this? Such a small job, man. Sometimes they said it directly. Sometimes they said it to their friends, loud enough for Daniel to hear. Daniel always pretended not to notice. He kept pouring coffee, kept counting change, kept wiping the same wooden counter again and again. But inside, every laugh stayed. Not as anger, as a quiet question. Am I really that small? At night, when the street went silent and the cart was closed, Daniel would sit alone and think. Not about money, not about revenge, about possibility. He told himself something very simple. This may be a small job, but it doesn't have to be a small life. And that thought, though no one heard it, was the beginning of everything. Daniel had not always dreamed of running a coffee cart. Years ago, he had dreams like everyone else. A good career, a respected position, a life where people would look at him and say, he made it. But life doesn't always move in straight lines. After his father passed away, Daniel had to leave college and start working. Bills didn't wait. Rent didn't wait. Responsibilities didn't wait. So he took the first honest work he could find, a small coffee cart. At first, he told himself it was temporary. Just for a few months, he thought, until I find something better. Months turned into years. The cart stayed, the kettle stayed, the early morning stayed, and so did the looks. People from his old class passed by in suits, holding laptops and phones. Some recognized him. Daniel, is that you? Then the pause. The slow look at the cart. The forced smile. Oh, you're doing this now. They didn't mean to be cruel, but their eyes said what their mouths didn't. You fell behind. Every word, every look, every small laugh added weight to Daniel's heart. Still, he showed up every day. Not because he loved the job, but because he respected work. While pouring coffee, he listened. He listened to office conversations, business talks, startup ideas, marketing plans, problems people complained about. He didn't interrupt. He didn't pretend to be important. He just listened. And every night he wrote ideas, observations, things he didn't understand yet, but wanted to. People thought he was just a coffee seller. They didn't see the notebook in his room. They didn't see the online courses he watched after long shifts. They didn't see him practicing on an old laptop that took 5 minutes just to turn on. They only saw the cart. They only saw the small job. And they laughed. But Daniel was building something quietly. Not a reply to their laughter. Not a plan for revenge. A future. Years passed. Not the kind of years that feel exciting. The slow kind, the heavy kind, the kind where progress is so quiet that even you start to doubt it's happening. Daniel's hair began to show a few strands of grey. The coffee cart got older. The kettle was replaced twice. And the laughter slowly faded into something worse. Silence. People stopped asking questions, stopped teasing, stopped noticing him at all. To them, he had become part of the street, like a lamppost, like a signboard, always there, unimportant. But behind that quiet life, something real was growing. Daniel learned how to build simple websites, how small businesses attract customers, how money moves, how mistakes are made. He failed many times. One small online project collapsed. Another earned nothing. Another almost worked, then didn't. There were nights he sat on his bed, staring at the wall, asking himself, am I wasting my life? And then morning would come. The kettle would boil, the cart would open, and he would keep going. Not because he felt brave, because stopping felt worse than being tired. Then one winter evening, something changed. A woman who used to buy coffee from him years ago stopped by. She didn't recognize him at first. "You look familiar?" she said. Daniel smiled politely. "I used to buy coffee here every morning," she said, thinking out loud. They talked for a few minutes. She mentioned she now ran a small company and was struggling with online sales. Daniel listened, the way he always did. Then he said quietly, "I might be able to help." She looked at him, at his card, at his hands, at his simple jacket. "You?" she asked, surprised. Daniel nodded. "If you'd like, I can try." She hesitated, then gave him her card. That night, Daniel didn't sleep. Not from fear, from focus. He worked for 2 days straight, testing, fixing, learning. When he showed her the results a week later, her business started getting customers within days. More people came, friends of friends, small companies, one by one. They didn't care about the card. They cared about the results. And slowly, very quietly, the same street that once laughed at him began to look at him differently. The coffee cart closed one morning without any announcement. No goodbye sign, no speech. Daniel simply wasn't there anymore. In its place, a small office opened a few streets away. Nothing fancy, just a glass door with a simple name. On it, inside, Daniel worked quietly, just as he always had. Only now, people came to him for advice, for help, for solutions. One afternoon, a man in a suit walked in, looking uncertain. Daniel recognized him instantly. They had studied together years ago. Back then, this man used to joke, "Bro, you're still selling coffee?" Now his voice was different. "Daniel, I heard you might be able to help my company. We're in trouble." Daniel didn't smile in pride. He didn't remind him of the past. He simply listened. Another day, an old office worker came, then another, then another. People who once passed by his cart without seeing him now sat in front of his desk, waiting. Not for coffee, for guidance, for answers, for support. Daniel never said, "You laughed at me." He never needed to. Life had already said it for him. He had learned something that years of silence had taught him. A small job does not mean a small future. Being underestimated does not mean being incapable. And the people who laugh today may one day need the one they ignored. He didn't become successful to prove anyone wrong. He became successful because he refused to believe he was small. And when they finally came to him for help, he gave it. Not with bitterness, with calm strength. Because real growth is quiet, and real respect comes when your work speaks for you.